Is it kosher to exchange patient-protected health information via Gmail? What about text messaging? And how do you handle a computer screen that faces the public? Hello, my name is John Lin. I'm a urologist in Gilbert, Arizona, your humble host of the Thriving Urology Practice Facebook group, where we get together and help each other out so we can all kick ass and win in this healthcare game. At 2:41 this morning, I received a text message, and no surprise, I field messages from all over the country. It seems like at all hours of the day. At 2:41 today, I received a text message asking me multiple questions about HIPAA, Gmail, texting, etc. So I'm going to try to quickly answer them here. She said that she has a lot of several HIPAA questions. Patients apparently in her practice email questions in a regular Gmail account, as well as having them send photos. They apparently email photos to this practice. And she was wondering if this is a violation. Well, if the patients are originating messaging to you, you have no control over what they send you. In that case, I don't think there's anything to worry about. However, if you encourage that kind of exchange, or if you respond and identify or try to engage the patient in whatever way possible, then you may be liable, and that may be a violation. I know when incoming messages you can't do anything about, but outbound you have a responsibility to encrypt your data and to keep it secure. Now, regular Gmail is not encrypted. And even though there's TLS layer security by Google, they still don't encrypt 100% of their emails. And in a HIPAA compliant fashion, you have to encrypt 100% of your email exchanges that contain protected health information. So regular Gmail that you and I get, sign up for free, sorry, not really HIPAA compliant. It does not mean that you cannot exchange information by email. It's just that in this situation, using the generic Gmail that is free, unfortunately, it's not going to cut the mustard. Okay, now how do you get your Gmail to be compliant? Well, there's something called G Suite. Of course, there's a fee associated, and you would sign up with Google. That way they can give you or have with you a business associates agreement, and that will allow both parties to understand that you are exchanging potentially protected health information, and you will do the necessary steps to protect that information. Now, there's something else. There's a lot more that you have to do to exchange email in a compliant fashion. Not only do you have to have in using Gmail, not only do you have to have G Suite in a BAA, you also should think about having an additional method to ensure end-to-end security encryption. And that's a third-party application that you can acquire. There are a lot of other ways to achieve this type of compliance, and I'm just addressing this instance with this question with Gmail. And you may want to consider getting a patient consent that you will be exchanging protected health information via email, and that there's always that inadvertent risk of disclosure, and that is a risk that the patient should understand, which is a possibility in this electronic world. Lastly, email footer or signature at the bottom, reminding the recipient that they should not be viewing or forwarding the information if they're not the intended recipient. However, if the recipient has the appropriate encryption and decryption public key or private key, that issue should be moot. So consider a footer in all of your email exchanges. Okay, when it comes to, she also asked about texting, whether texting is kosher with patients. Again, there's no encryption, right? You have not signed a business associates agreement with your cell phone carrier, ensuring that the patient's privacy and information are protected. So straight texting with the patient talking about PHI is, you should reconsider that. I know just because we are in an electronic world does not mean that it is okay to share this type of information in an unprotected fashion. Unfortunately, healthcare entities are held to a much higher standard, and it sucks. It is inconvenient, but we, just imagine if a patient were to complain to federal authorities that you are using non-encrypted communication and become a whistleblower of some sort, then it's really not worth it. In my practice, we have outbound email that we send to patients for their initial visit. We send non-PHI information. It's just a bunch of forms and a link or a link to download the forms, and nothing else is discussed. There's no discussion of their diagnosis or the reason for visit, etc. It is just strictly here are the forms and here's the link. We don't tell them anything. We don't disclose anything, so that no PHI is disclosed in the outbound email that we send out to the patients. We do not currently have encrypted email to allow patients to contact us. I guess if an existing patient were to send us picture of their urologic parts, I guess there's nothing we can do. But on our end, we have to figure out a way to securely hold that information or erase it from our computers, etc. Speaking of our local computers, we usually use software to access our email. And the software that we use could be Outlook, it could be some other platform. You also have to make sure that software that you use and its connection to whichever email service is secure. If it is not, then you're unfortunately in violation of HIPAA due to lack of security from the software to the email exchange server or whatever email service that you use. Users are always the weakest link in any sort of a security situation. For instance, you can have a computer monitor that is in a walking hallway. Like in my office, I have two huge monitors in a not a public hallway, but it's in a back hallway. However, anyone walking by can see the PHI that is often displayed, whether that's a radiologic CAT scan image or it could be the EHR that's open. So whenever I walk away, it is my responsibility to secure that monitor, secure that workstation. And we run Windows here. All I have to do is hold the window button and hit L, the letter L, to lock the screen. It does not log me out of all the sessions that I have open. It does not log me out of the computer session that I have with the server. It simply locks the computer. As soon as I log back in, all the applications are still open where I left it, so I can get right back into working. So that is the way that I protect the information whenever I walk away from my computer. Any public-facing monitor computer needs to have that type of human behavior and also that type of security, so that whenever there's not a person using it, you have to lock it whenever you walk away. If you have a monitor that is in a public situation, say in a waiting area, and the monitor is facing the check-in window, you may want to consider a security screen where unless you're actually looking at the screen dead on, you can't see the contents. So there are screens that you can put in front of the monitor so that it makes it a little bit more difficult for people to see the content of that screen. That is one very easy fix if you absolutely cannot move the monitor away from that location. So those are some of my thoughts regarding Gmail, regarding texting, and regarding monitors, public-facing monitors, and how you can try to secure your patient's information and avoid a HIPAA violation. Lastly, here's a very good tip on how to get back into your computer session. For instance, in my Windows environment, to get back into my session after I window L to lock me out of the screen or the session, to get right back into it, usually you have to hit Control-Alt-Delete and then use a series of keystrokes to get back into the Windows session that you just logged yourself out of. Well, that's inefficient because you are prone to make an error in entering the keystrokes, and then you're frustrated. You have to re-enter the keystroke. You have that Control-Alt-Delete again. It just frustrates the heck out of you, and then you just want to go back and see patients. What I have found is that there's a very easy solution. It's a biometric solution. It uses my fingerprint. I can register multiple fingerprints, touch the little pad, and then it'll automatically unlock and log me back into my computer. So I'll put the link in the video description. It's about $100 some odd, a piece of software that you load into the workstation. It works really, really well. Do not skimp on the biometric reader. It saves you a lot of time. I mean, it's just cumulative time savings and efficiency is just, I mean, there's no price you can put on that piece of hardware and software combination. All right, so let me know what you think about HIPAA and the measures that you have taken. If you've been subject of a phishing attack, hacking, or ransomware attack, let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to interacting with everyone. Lastly, make sure to invite your friends who are in the urologic realm to join the Thriving Urology Practice Facebook group. Take care and have a great rest of the week.